In this tutorial, we will see how to correctly place obstacles. The first step will be to create the building in 3D. At this point, we are going to work in 2D mode, and, first of all, we select the building we have built. Now let's go to set the transparency. It will be easier to identify all the obstacles present. By clicking on the last icon on the right, we have an inventory of all the obstacles present. Here we will find obstacles from roofs, doors and windows, and trees. We select the chosen object. Here we can enter the dimensions of the selected obstacle, if we are already aware of it. And an offset, which is an area around the object in which we do not want to place panels. For this form it is preset to 20 centimeters, but now we are changing it to 50 centimeters. At this point, we can drag the obstacle directly onto the building, and position it where it is needed. Selecting the object, we have the functions to duplicate, resize, rotate, or delete it. If we have precise measurements, we can use the quote function. In this way, the system will detect the distance of the object, with respect to the building boundaries. We also have the option of resizing the obstacle directly in the design area. By doing so, it will be easy to copy exactly the shape shown on the map. We can then switch to 3D environment, to go and change the height of our obstacle. First we select it. Click on the dimension icon. Select the axis we want to edit, and enter the correct dimension. Once we are sure of the size of our object, we can go back to 2D mode. Select the obstacle, and duplicate it, to replicate all the other shapes on the building. We click on Duplicate, and we drag it along the axis, in order to remain aligned. Then we indicate the number of times that we want to duplicate it. Once duplicated, we can select them one by one, and position them correctly. Once all similar objects have been placed, we go to reopen the inventory to choose the other objects that we find on the coverage. We evaluate which object, among those present, can best represent the really existing obstacle, and we repeat the entire procedure. If we have precise measurements of the overall dimensions, we can obviously use the dimensioning system, by simply clicking on the axis. In this way we have the possibility to change the measure and insert the correct one. If we want to move the obstacle, we can also choose to freely move it in 2 dimensions, taking it from the center of the axis. This could be an antenna. We select it, and drag it onto our coverage. Once the obstacles have all been placed, we can select the building, and turn off the transparency function. Returning to the 3D environment, we can observe all the obstacles correctly positioned. In this case, we also have trees on the right side of the building. We can decide to go and place these too. The procedure is the same as for any other obstacle. So even in this case we can go and resize our object. And we can duplicate it. When we have placed all the obstacles that could create shading on our roof, we can move to the analysis environment, and make a preliminary analysis of the building surface. By clicking on Select Field, we are going to indicate on which surface we want to calculate the shadings. And then, Simulate Shading. The system shows us a summary of the analyses, where it indicates the number of points analyzed, and a percentage loss due to the shading of the obstacles on our building.